I'm up so early today because it's daylight savings a few days ago and it takes me forever to adjust. So I'm recording much earlier than I normally do, but it feels like normal. Anyway, am I the only one? Anyway, I'm Nikki. This is Pin Cut Sew. I'm going to talk about something that hopefully applies to a lot of people. Well, I'm sorry if it applies to you, but I want to talk to the people who are trying to do Christmas sewing on a very tight budget. I actually had a different video planned. It was about some sewing tools I'm putting on my Christmas wish list, or like a quilter's gift guide, and I might still make that one. I probably will. Maybe I'll make it after I've received some new sewing things and can review them for you. But then I kind of feel like this might not be the year for that. This might be the year where a lot of people are on a sort of a more constrained budget and trying to have a nice Christmas and a nice holiday within your constrained budget. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I have talked about frugal sewing quite a bit in the past. I am a pretty frugal person. We were a one-income family and we homeschooled all of our kids for 20 plus years, and it's only been in the last couple of years that our budget is a little bit bigger because now I have this income, and so I'm contributing that way, and so now we're a two-income family. But for 23 years of our marriage, we lived on one income, and we managed to have very beautiful and nice holidays anyway. And so we have some great strategies for having a lean Christmas, and also it is so much fun and simple, it can be simple, to craft a great holiday. So these are my tips for you if you're wanting to give handmade gifts. And then I'm going to talk about some general holiday frugality strategies. Some frugal holiday strategies is a better way to put it, that we have implemented over the years to get through the season without going into debt. So stay tuned till the end for that, because yeah, we have a lot of experience in this, as I'm sure many of you do too. So as we're going through this, please leave your own strategies in the comments, and we can add to the conversation and give people a lot of ideas, because you don't have to enter the holiday season already feeling stressed about how much money it's going to cost. We can do this frugally and beautifully at the same time. So let's hop into it. Okay, my first and best tip is to take inventory of what you have. So a lot of times when we go to sew gifts, we look for the patterns, the ideas first, and then we go get the supplies to make them. But if you're on a tight budget, you want to do the opposite thing. So go into your sewing room or your craft supplies or whatever it is and assess what you already have. So there was this one year when we were first married, I needed to make the gifts because we didn't have a lot of money, and I also didn't have a ton of fabric, but I had a lot of yarn. And so I crocheted gifts that Christmas. I made my sisters-in-law big, beautiful white doilies. And to me, it's just, it's a doily. I grew up with a lot of doilies, but they loved them so much that they framed these doilies. And I just think that is so sweet. So assess the materials that you have and then decide what you can make with them. What I am not saying is to use your junk, ugly fabric to make gifts because you have to, and that's what you have, and I'm just gonna whip up a bunch of these. I don't care if people don't like them, but I wanna use up these ugly fabrics. Don't do that. Try to make it something that the person will actually enjoy. And I do have a list of things that I feel like everybody would like that we'll get to in a minute. So when you're assessing, if you want to sew the presents, if you have a lot of yarn, go crochet the presents, but if you want to sew the presents, try opening your stash to see, what do I have a lot of? Do I have a lot of one-off novelty prints? Maybe those would make really good oversized hot pads, and oversized hot pads is the number one thing that almost everybody would love and nobody thinks of. When I gifted one to my sister, she said, this is the kitchen item I never knew I needed. And then the more I made for gifts, the more gifts. So my mother-in-law, I made one for her, and her sister came over and said, where did you get this and how can I get one? So oversized hot pads, universally useful. They're like casserole sized, basically a quilted placemat, but it has batting in there, so it's a hot pad. And you can watch the video for the tutorial, and you can get the printed pattern if you want to. I'll put links to all of the patterns that I mentioned in the description. And so if you have a lot of novelty prints, if you have a lot of Christmas prints, make something Christmas related. Make Christmassy oversized hot pads, or Christmas hot pads, or a Christmas apron, or something the person can pull out next year. One time I made my family Christmas tree skirts and like a round Christmas table topper with trees on it. Christmas fabrics are one of those things we tend to collect without having uses for, at least I do. My next video is going to be about that quilt, trying to use up the Christmas stash, so I started a Christmas quilt. But anyway, another thing you might have an excess of is orphan blocks. I've talked about other things you can do with orphan blocks, like you made a block and then you never actually made the quilt, or you just wanted to try a block. So now I have these orphan blocks like these. I have this flower one and I have this book one. I could make a book sleeve out of this. I could make this into a mini quilt. And one time I don't know if you've ever seen this book, The Farmer's Wife Quilt, Sampler Quilt. It's just like, I think it's 100. This is a really cool book. I'll put a link to it. But basically there's just a ton of, I think, 6-inch blocks in here that you're supposed to paper piece. They take a really long time. So I had made 5 and then I gave up. And so for Christmas that year, I went ahead and bound them all as little mini quilts and I gave them to my female family members with, each block has like a letter from World War II times. And each block comes with a description and a letter from the creator of it back then. So I printed this out, made it kind of special, and I gifted these. And that cost me nothing because I already had it. So do you have a lot of little scraps? You can make ornaments. Do you have a lot of doll making supplies? I feel like more people have made my frog doll pattern for their adult friends than they have made it for kids. Something about the frog doll, I think it's pretty funny that people have made it for their co-workers, their quilt group people. It's pretty funny. So try to think through the supplies you already have and decide what can be made from them instead of the other way around. Ooh, like maybe you bought some one-off supply, like you bought a bunch of Insulbright because you're making bowl cozies. What else can you use that for? You can make pot holders, mug rugs, anything like that that uses Insulbright. My mason jar cozy, that would be perfect for that. And the mason jar pattern, the mason jar cozy video has a ton of gifting ideas because it's a really inexpensive thing to gift and you can bulk it up with other fun things to go with it. Okay, so you're accounting for your supplies and now you need to also account for your time. I'm sure you've heard it said that sometimes you have more time than money and other times you have more money than time, and that kind of can dictate what kind of a holiday you have too. But sometimes you really have neither. You don't have a lot of money, but you don't have a ton of time. So this is where I have 2 tips. First, and it might be challenging, you need to hack the list. Some people on your Christmas giving list can be just axed right off of there. I think a lot of times we just keep giving gifts out of obligation, and I think we think they're expected, and they're honestly not. Because think about yourself. If your friend or a loved one has given you a gift every year and suddenly they just don't, are you going to be greatly offended by that? No, probably not. I hope not. But as our families grow and expand and get bigger, the list expands in that direction and it needs to shrink in the other direction. So as you have more children and grandchildren, maybe your nieces and nephews are aging out of your gift list, okay? And I do not think this is something we need to feel guilty over. As the families have gotten older on our siblings and their families have gotten older, now we give like a family gift. Sometimes it's as inexpensive as a puzzle. Sometimes it's like a gift basket that we order and have delivered. It just depends on the year and how much our budget allows for. And you really do not need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to make everything very fair and even. You need to give from your heart to those you are able to give to and that you really want to give to. I know that some family dynamics can be a challenge in this way, but honestly, if you start gifting less, I think most people will be relieved to know that they can do the same. So just be the one to start. So now that you've accounted, maybe now you've cut down your list a little bit. You don't have to make the teacher gifts. You can, well, I mean, I've never had teachers, we homeschooled, so I don't know the etiquette there. I don't know. Okay, so for the people remaining that maybe you do need to want to give a little something to, there are some things that you can batch sew to save time. So some good ones are Zipper pouches. I can make 10 zipper pouches in a couple of hours. Oh, that's another one. If you have bulk ordered zippers, zipper pouches are a great thing to use them up. So that goes back to assessing your supplies. Another one is, let's see, the sunglasses case, and that's another thing that almost everybody loves. But my favorite is making ornaments. I'm gonna come out with I just had a new idea for an ornament last night. But my mouse pattern has been very popular since I posted it last year, so I will link you to that one. But they only take scraps. You can batch sew them so you can make a bunch at once, and they're the best little something Christmas gift because I have so many friends I love to give gifts to, but I also don't want to obligate them to reciprocate. And it's just a little something that they love but don't feel bad about receiving, you know? Why is Christmas so complicated? Gifting is like, there's so much etiquette and assumptions. Anyway, so assess your supplies, assess your time, assess your list. Thirdly, assess your skills. You may have more skills than you think. So my daughter Layla, you know Layla, she edits my videos. She's an artist and she is on a kind of a tight budget this Christmas. So she's like, what can I make that's not... She has gifted a lot of art to us over the years. It's so much fun. Here's some of the things she's done. She digitally drew my husband in a TIE fighter in a Star Wars scene and gifted it to him, and now it's his iPhone wallpaper. She has... Oh, we play this board game called Talisman, and it comes with like character cards. She made a specialized character card for each of us as like a piece of art. And she like, you know, they have like special skills and everything, all the characters. And she illustrated them. They're so fun. She just painted me the coolest birthday card in watercolor. It's so cute. I wish it was in here. I'll have her put a picture of it up for you. It's me, like a ghosty me sewing, chain piecing a happy birthday banner. Anyway, this year we were brainstorming ideas that she could do, and she's going to buy ceramic tiles and paint on them and make them into coasters by putting felt on the bottom. So assess your skills. Like my sister, when she was first married, did not have very much money. She's a very good cook. And so she assembled for each of us Jana's seasonal favorites recipes, and they're just printed with a red cover and like put together with brads, like hole punches and brads. And I am not joking. I use that cookbook still 20 some years later. I just took a salad from that cookbook to a church potluck and the bowl was practically licked clean. Like, I love that recipe book because they're tried and true and they have her tips in there and things that I know are going to be good because she's a good cook. So I have used, I think, every recipe in that cookbook, and that cost her nothing except printer paper, right? Are you good at any other crafts? Like I said, crochet. One time I made they were clothespins. I put magnets on the back, like magnet strips on the back, and I put a cute scrapbook paper on the front and Mod Podged it. So they're like magnet clips, you know? So inexpensive to make. We've made countless things over the years, but can you make a batch of homemade Jell-O Play-Doh for the little ones in your life? Are you good at cooking? You can make those recipes in a jar and gift those with one of the mason jar cozies. Ooh, are you a gardener? Have you saved seeds and, what are they called? Clearly I do not have a green thumb. What are they called? Oh, bulbs. Can you gift those? Have you canned anything that you can gift? I would love to receive someone's like canned tomatoes because I can do okay with flowers, but I have the worst black thumb. Like, I just, out of sight, out of mind, I forget that things are even growing. And so I can't grow tomatoes, but I love it when my neighbors gift me them. So if you have like canned salsa or tomatoes, that's a great gift. So assess your other skills too and see what you can do in a frugal or inexpensive way. And don't assume that people won't like what you have to offer because, oh my gosh. So my birthday was yesterday. Side rant. And I received the watercolor from Layla. My son and husband bought me a new speaker, so that was a store-bought thing, but I really needed it and loved it. And my mom had taken a glass blowing class and she made a glass pumpkin and she gave it to me for my birthday. That thing is amazing, and my mom made it. And she made me a quilted bag to put it in, or she gifted it to me in a quilted bag. And let's see what else. Oh, my daughter went to meet and visit her boyfriend's family recently, and her boyfriend's mom sent her home with a bag of cosmos seeds for me to plant in the spring. so excited about them. And some dried blueberries that she had made. These are great gifts. Okay, great gifts. I'm filming. Okay, so I hope that's given you some good ideas. Let me think through some more projects that would be really good for batch sewing. Besides the mason jar cozies, the oversized hot pads, because you can make them out of any fabric. Pillowcases are another really good one because for some reason my drawer of fabric is full of a lot of novelty prints that I thought were cute, and I bought them because they were cute, but they don't actually like get put into anything. They're kind of like specific. Like I have a pig fabric. So using those for things like this, like I have a coffee sleeve pattern that's good for those. And then you can take these things, journal covers like this. You can also make covers for like a composition book. So all you have to do is buy the notebook, which costs a couple of bucks. So here's some ways that you can also bulk up these gifts. So sometimes it feels cheesy to give like a book sleeve, but you could give a book sleeve and also put in like the stickers of this book belongs to, or put a book in there. And I'm gonna get to books in a minute when I talk about regifting. So you can add things to your handmade things to bulk them up a little bit without spending a lot of extra money. So be creative, think through that. If you gift the oversized hot pad with some, I don't know, gosh, wooden spoons, or go to Goodwill and find the vintage Pyrex or estate sales. Vintage Pyrex. Maybe I should just talk about regifting now. No, I'll save it for the end. You can gift an oversized hot pad with a vintage casserole dish. People love vintage Pyrex. Well, most people. Obviously, if you have like someone who decorates in a very modern way, don't give them vintage Pyrex. Okay, so I've talked about the sewing part, but I also have a few tips for frugal Christmases in general. Like I said, we have some experience. So my husband and I, we like to call it found money. So there's been years, like this one year, back when we used a lot of cash for budgeting reasons, we would put change in a jar. And one year I was like, where is the Christmas money gonna come from? Because we're pretty committed not to just going into debt over Christmas. And I looked at that jar of change and I took it to the coin star, and it was like $500 of change, and that paid for our Christmas that year. And I had a friend say, why not just budget for it all year? And honestly, at the time, our budget was so tight. There was no extra money in there. A few years later though, we did start to budget for gifts. We have a gifts account. This is a hot tip about budgeting that seems like a lot of people don't know. You can have as many bank accounts as you want. Your bank does not judge you for it. You can just get on your little app, open a new bank account, call it something. You can have as many as you want. And then you can freely move the money around through there. So we have a necessities account with this, which is just bills. So we know we don't spend that money on other things. We have spending money for me. We have spending money for my husband. We have a gifts account now that we just put a certain amount of money in every single month. And this gift money comes in really handy for birthdays and Mother's Day, or like in May, we have a bunch of birthdays plus Mother's Day. So though it's so nice to just have that money because you don't have to worry about where it's coming from. And then come Christmas time, we have enough money stashed in there to pay for Christmas. So if you are able to budget for it throughout the year, even if you just put 20 bucks per paycheck in the gifts account and then leave it there till you need it, that is probably the #1 most fun thing we've ever done for Christmas, because then it removes the stress of finding the money. Okay, my second tip, this is the one about regifting. People do not mind regifted things. People also do not mind used things. If they do, maybe they're not your people, right? So like I already said about the thrifting gifts, those Pyrexes, if you go to a lot of estate sales, my nicest jewelry now is from estate sales. And so, because you can find like nice, good things, my daughter gifted her friend a real gold bracelet from an estate sale. I don't think the estate sale people knew that it was gold, but Layla worked in the industry for a while, so she could tell. She can tell when it's real. And her friend wears that all the time. One time I had made myself a bathrobe and I just never wore it, but it was the most beautiful fabric. But my sister is a bathrobe person, so I gifted that to her for her birthday. Games and puzzles, I have regifted those before. If they're not missing any pieces, and if they're fun but your family's done with them, pass them on to another family. And books. I never would care about getting a book that somebody's already read, although Recently, I was reading a book. I was like, man, I need to gift this to my friend Becky. And then I spilled coffee on it. Like 2 minutes after I was thinking that, I spilled coffee on it. And so I will buy her a new one. It's coming, Becky. One time my mother-in-law, every time one of her granddaughters turns 18 or graduates or something, she gifts them an older piece of jewelry from her collection. They love it. My mom has done the same thing. She's gifted like earrings and other jewelry. One time, my Aunt Carol, when my daughter, maybe she was like 12, I don't know, in that preteen phase, super getting into makeup and everything, my Aunt Carol got like a sampler bag it was like a makeup bag, and she filled it with samples, like Mary Kay samples, and all of these makeup and skincare samples, and my daughter loved it. It cost my aunt nothing, but it was one of the best gifts that she ever gave her. Also, if you have a friend, one time I had made like a laptop case out of some really cool fabric, and I had this friend who loved it. She commented on it every single time. She's like, please make me one. I didn't have any more of that fabric. So I gifted it to her for her birthday. Sometimes people may come over to your home and really love something that you have made. Sometimes it may be a quilt, and if it's not super special to you, wrap that up and gift it to them. Or if you have something else that they see in your home, they're like, I love this so much. You can make another one. Just gift it to them. This goes for family heirlooms too. If you have family members, right now our family is full of young adults. So now is the time to start gifting them something, some kind of family heirloom, not the burdensome kind. Don't start giving them junk that they do not want. But if they have commented that they would love to have something like a beautiful cake plate or something, and they have just moved into their first apartment or gotten married, gift them the family heirloom. Pass it on down. Okay, and then also you can, even for your own kids, because this is the part of Christmas that's really expensive, is gifting things to your own children. They have big lists. They have no idea what stuff costs, right? But you can, first you can buy a lot of things secondhand. Get there on your Facebook Marketplace, go to your thrift stores. There was this one epic DIY Christmas. Let me tell you about this thing that I made for my girls. I wanted to make them a Barbie house. They were probably, let's see, Kelby was probably 4. They were maybe like 6 and 8. And so I bought one of those cheapo bookshelves. At the time they cost like $20. I painted it. I wallpapered it. I cut out windows. I used cloud scrapbook paper. I put flooring in it. It was mostly like felt and scrapbook paper. And then after Thanksgiving, Target had like a big Barbie furniture thing that I could get for like $15. And this thing was the most loved possession by my kids and their friends. Their friends would come over and play with this Barbie house for years. I think we had it for 10 years. I mean, and then I think eventually we were just using it as a bookshelf, and then we passed it on. But that thing was epic. And the same year I got my son, I was at Goodwill and they had a huge Tonka truck fire engine, the big one with the big wheels and the lights and everything. I think I paid like $6. And so this Christmas for my kids was such a good one, but did not cost me very much money. It did cost time, but it was super fun. And also that Barbie house was just really sturdy compared to the plastic Barbie houses, although those are cool too. So look and see what your neighbors are selling. Trade gifts, go to consignment stores. Your kids will be okay if they don't have brand new stuff. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you will share your frugal Christmas tips and ideas and past experiences, because Christmas is a fun time of joy and it should not be a financially stressful event. I just want to liberate you from thinking you have to do it a certain way, or you have to do it like you used to do it, or you have to do it like your friends and family are doing it. You do Christmas in a way that makes sense for you and your budget. I hope that helps. I'll see you soon with this quilt.